This is going to be a video covering 3 topics. I want to change the host name, I want to change the time zone, and I want to change the username Debian to Adams. Come back to that. First of all, host name. If I change directory to /Etsy and do an ls, there are a large number of directories and files in here that are related to the system and user accounts. And eventually, maybe I'll get through a lot of these files and directories to explain what they are for. First one I want to look at is the plain text file. These are the files that are shown in white. There's a file down here called host name, and it contains the name of the system. If I look at its current value, I see that it contains LPI4A. Let me clear this and do it again. Cat host name. If I do an ls-l on it, we can see it's owned by root. So in order to change the system name, I've got to do it as root. So I'll do a substitute user do. I want a vi host name, and I go into the file, lower left corner, you can see host name. I want to change that, so let me go to the first position here and do a change word, and I want to pick a new name for the system. You pick some, your favorite word, name of your town, the name of your college mascot, spouse, significant other, grandkids, whatever. I'm going to name mine after a galaxy. Let's call it Andromeda. It's 2.5 million light years away, and I'm sure anybody living there won't mind. Do an escape to get through. Now there's 2 ways to get out of Vim. I'm always going to call it VI for the visual editor that was written by Bill Joy when he was at Berkeley. Went on to be one of the founders of Sun Microsystems. To get out of VI, I can do a :Q for quit, or there's another way, and I'm gonna pick the other way, and that is to do a Shift ZZ, and that exits VI. If I cat host name, the host name is going to be Andromeda. It does not take in effect, does not become valid until I reboot the system. And I don't want to reboot right here in the middle of my lecture. Second thing I want to do is to change the time zone. If you do a date, it shows you that it's Saturday, October 7th. It's 4:05 in the afternoon, UTC, Universal Coordinated Time, which is, you may know as Zulu time or GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. It's the time at the 0 meridian on the planet Earth. Let me show you what time zones you can create on a Linux operating system, and I will do a command called TZ time zone select. Please identify a location so that the time zone rules can be set correctly. So let's select the continent. Well, we're in the Americas, so that's a 2. So I'll input 2, hit return. Please select a country. Well, I'm in the United States, and it's number 49 on the list. So I'll do a 49. select one of the following time zones, and I've got my choice of Eastern, Central, Mountain, Pacific, and Alaska and Hawaii. And you can see evidently, like in the Eastern time zone, excuse me, that's most areas, but then there's some exceptions. In Michigan, most areas, maybe they ignore daylight savings. Kentucky, Louisville area, something's different about their time zone. And then Wayne, Kentucky. Over here in Mountain time is in most areas, but in Arizona, we do MST, which is Mountain Standard Time, and we do not do daylight savings. So that's the one I want, so I'll do a 20. And it says the following information has been given United States, Arizona. Therefore, the time zone variable is equal to America/Phoenix. So the selected time is now 9:07 in the morning. I look at my clock on the wall, and that's what it is. Universal time is 16:07. Is the above information okay? And I'll say yes. Now that doesn't do anything for me. If I do the date, it's still UTC. I need to go and change the time zone file. Its contents I need to change. So I will VI time zone, and I'd already changed it, but I hadn't rebooted the system. So the previous value was UTC. You just go and edit the one line in here and change it to your time zone. So I changed mine to America Phoenix. Next time I reboot the system, it will change it. Let's see if it. Let me just minimize that one. Let's start up a new window and do the date. Nope, it's using the system clock, so we will just have to reboot the system for it to take effect. Let me go back and resize this thing. You have to trust me that that's what it is. And next time I do a video, you'll see that I'll do the date for you to show that it's changed. Now, the reason I can't go and reboot the system is if I do, I kill off my recording here. And that's not the purpose of this exercise. Let me go back to /etc, do an ls again. Now I want to change the name Debian to Adams. Now there's a couple of user utilities like add user or user mod, but they don't do everything. That's one of the problems that the system set up, that when you create the system, at the same time you create the user, like a typical installation. So I'm going to have to find all the files in which have the name Debian in it. Okay, so what I will do is I will do a grep Debian in all the files. Now this will generate some errors. I'm just going to go ahead and do it just to illustrate what happens. You do a grep Debian for everything, and it'll say, like, you know, XML is a directory, XFC is a directory. So I get a lot of anything that's a directory. I get an error message because I'm a user. The substitute user doers file is owned and operated by root, and I don't have permissions for it. The sub-user and group ID, there's Debian in there. Let's see here. In password, there's Debian. And then a file with file name followed by a dash is a copy of the file with the name without the dash. So password dash is a backup copy for password. So there are a lot of, so what you do is you look for any file like group, anything that doesn't have grep in front of it. So let's see if I can do this correctly. Do a grep, debian, everything, and then I want to grep -n. I don't want to display anything unless it has the word debian in it. And let's see if that works. Nope. How am I going to get just, that should have worked. If I do a grep debian star and then do a grep for just debian, it should eliminate everything that doesn't have the word debian in it. And it does not. So let me pause here and figure out what I'm doing wrong. Okay, I figured out what the problem is. Here's the problem. If I do a grep debian and everything, there's going to be some error messages generated. So what I want to do is I want to redirect those error messages into /dev/null, then grep debian. Aha. That works as advertised. Left-hand field, the first thing separated from the first colon, shows you which files have the word debian in it. Now, this bash run command, this is something I do not want to mess with because it's using Debian as a system name. So the group file has Debian in it. The group backup file has Debian in it, but I'm not going to mess with it. So write these down. I want to modify a group. I want to modify, I don't want to touch MIME types or OS release. I want to do the password file, PASSWD, and I want to do the sub-GID. Excuse me. I want sub-GID and sub-UID files. I want to change those, so let me clear and let me do a sudo vi password. Well, I listed group first, so let's do them in alphabetical order. And you can see that Debian belongs to the admin group. I belong to the CD-ROM and floppy group that allows access to CD-ROM if you have had one on a system. Floppy, this is okay. I'm allowed to execute the substitute user do and all these things. What I want to do is every occurrence of Debian I want to change to my name. So what I'll do is I'll do a colon, $1, it says start at the first line, go to the end of the file, substitute for Debian Adams. So every line that has Debian in it, I will change it to Adams. Let me go back to the top, 1 capital G, and you can see that admin, where Debian was, is now Adams. Same for CD-ROM, floppy, sudo, and everything. So that was an easy substitute. I will save that. Next thing to do is the password file. Sudo vi password, And let me do just a search for a Debian. It should only occur in one place, right there. So I will do a change word and replace that with Adams. Now that's my user ID would be 1000, group ID 1000, and my home directory I also want to have as the same as my name, so I'll change that. The last thing that I did was do a change word, so I'm going to do a dot to repeat it, so I don't have to type that again. And it changed it. So we're good to go here. The sub UID, I'm going to leave those alone. I don't know that I would that I need that. Whoops, what was it? SUB GID. Change word, Adams. We'll just do it for safety. Sudo vi sub user ID. Change word, Adams. There's another, there should be a shadow. Let's do the shadow. That's a password file. That's my. And sure enough, there's Debian, change word, Adams. So I will have whatever the password was for Debian, that's what I've got here. So let's do it again. Let's go back and do the grep and see if I have. Let's see if I have Debian left anywhere. And it's in the, okay, it's in the backup files. And that looks like I've got it everywhere. So now, user 1000 is now Adams. Let me do this. Let me back up here and do an ls. And I still have a directory named Debian. But when I do an ls long on it, it shows that it's owned by Adams. And that is because when you do an ls on a file name, the inode associated with the file is looked up in the password file. So you remember that Debian was owned by user ID 1000. But user 1000 is now Adams. So what I want to do is I want to change the name. So I will do a sudo move Debian to Adams. Now I've got the same problem with anything that's in that directory. There's videos. Let's do an ls -l on Adams /videos. I want to do this on a directory, so I need to tell it that it is a directory. And it shows that it is owned by Adams, which is correct. That's because it's using user ID 1000. So I am through. I have now created username Adams as a substitute for Debian. Now I can create, let's not I'm going to effectively log in as Adams. So I'll do a substitute user minus, do everything and do it as Adams. And it wants my password as Adams. Let's see if I change that. Yes. So now you can see from my prompt, the first word is my, my first word is my username. If I do an ID, you can see that my user ID is 1000. My name is Adams. I'm in groups. I'm an admin, CD-ROM, floppy, substitute user, do the whole bit. So I am effectively Debian, but I'm Adams. Hope that makes sense to you. If I were to log out, let me do that. I'm going to, now I have to kill the screen recorder. So I will save this video. I will log out as Cyped. Right here you can see a Cyped, and I have all those groups that I belong to, the same as Debian did. Had those as Adams. So I'm going to log out, and then I'm going to log back into the system as Adams. So we'll save this, and I will come back. I went one better. I rebooted the system. Instead of just logging out of Cyped, I just rebooted the system. When I reboot the system automatically brings up the account Cyped. So log out and then log back in as Adams with my password, and here I am. So if I do it, you can see from my prompt that I'm user Adams and I'm on a system named Andromeda, what used to be LPI4A. If I do an ID, it shows I'm Adams, group Adams, and I can do all the stuff that I could have done as Debian before. So I'll look up time. Let's do the date. UTC. Should have changed. What? Let's go back. Did I leave something out? America Phoenix. Wonder how much time I've used up on the other one. I don't know. I must have something misspelled. Just trying to think what other utility. There's no other. I'll tell you what. Let's go to the web browser. Let's see what utility. I don't remember like this full screen. Why are you taking so long? Oh, here we go. Linux. Change system time zone. So we'll see what's handy dandy. I haven't done it, I've never had to do it before because there's regular install from a CD or a thumb drive. You give the time zone. How to set the time zone. See if we got to change the time zone. Here we go. Time zone is geographic region because it's okay. Time, date, C control is the command line utility. So type that in. Time zone is configured by symlinking the etc local time file to a binary. Okay, another way to check time zone is view this, changing it. Time list time zones. Okay, that's what we got. Once you define it is accurate to your system, run the following command. Sudo time date control set time zone. Now I don't want to type all that in, so let's do a copy from the terminal. Let's see if terminal, whoops, I need to do an edit, paste. Oh, this is a memory test here. Sudo set time zone. No, time dates. So, okay. Time date, CTL, time zone, set time zone. This is fun, isn't it? Honestly. Set time zone, and then America Phoenix. There we go. So now my date and time is now in the Mountain Standard Time. That should do it for this video. It is possible because there's so many commands and it's been a while since I've had to do this on another system. You have to go look things up. I typically go to the internet because I don't have a hard copy of System Admin Manual setting. And let's do the apropos again. Apropos time. And see the time zone, the command time date, CTL, time date. Oh, there it is. So control the system does show up there. But I didn't, well, okay. I wonder, sorry. Let's quit this before I run out of time. Thank you. Hope you learned something. One, how to set the time zone correctly, how to change the system name, and then how to change a username. If you want to add a user, then you use the user add function as root. Thank you for your time. Let me get out of here.